Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises to Abinawa Yahweh Ba'Shem, Hamashiach Yahushua. It's your brother here from Michael Barr, the true Hebrews under God, aka Thug Camp. And to my left, so today is another Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the rest of our people that are scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. So today is another Sabbath class, and we're going to go over Joshua chapter 10, Joshua chapter 11, and Joshua chapter 12, which is the history of our forefathers and foremothers. So let's get straight to it. Joshua chapter 10, verse 1.
Now it came to pass, when Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king. So he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel, and were among them.
Go ahead.
That they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Wherefore Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron, and unto Piram, king of Jarmuth, and unto Japhia, king of Lachish, and unto Debir, king of Eglon, saying, Come up unto me, and help me, that we may smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua, and with the children of Israel. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, and the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, and the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together, and went up, they and all their host, and encamped before Gibeon, and made war against it.
So you remember that Gibeon was the ones that tricked Israel into making a peace treaty, so to speak. You know what I mean? They deceived them. They went to go put on, old wine, old bottles. They put on some old garments to make it seem like they traveled for afar, to the point where they were so scared to the point they just wanted to make an alliance, a pledge with Israel, making a covenant of peace, which we were supposed to destroy them, but because we made that covenant in the name of the Lord, we couldn't break it. Continue. So these other nations, these other Hamitic nations gets mad, they get ready to want to go to war with Israel, or with Gibeon, but they're in the land of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 6.
But the Gibeons, they was Ammonites. Go ahead.
And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to encamp in Gilgal, saying, Slack not thine hand from thy servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor.
So even though these Gibeons was not our people, they was in our land. So it was our responsibility, and we made a pact with them. We was at peace with them. So we was about to defend our land. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Joshua, Fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee.
So we don't supposed to have the spirit of fear of no man. Can't be afraid of no man. What can man do to us? We are the children of the Most High. And that's the same type of spirit that we must have to this day. We must not have the spirit of fear, of doubt. We must be strong and courageous. Go ahead.
Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And Yahweh discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Beth-horon, and smote them to Ezekah, and unto Makkedah.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Beth-horon, that Yahweh cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Ezekah, and they died. There were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword.
So just imagine how big of those hailstones were. You see what I'm saying? You can actually go online and see, I believe it was in Texas, you know, you had some hailstones that was, I mean, pretty big. You know, it was busting windows, it was busting cars, denting cars, you know, busting the houses' windows, you know, did a lot of damage. So the Lord, you know, sent a hailstorm their way and killed more people with the hailstorm than with the children of Israel did with their actual sword. So let's get a couple of precepts for that. Give me Deuteronomy 32. Start off with that. Start off with Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. Read that real quick.
See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
Now give me Isaiah 29 and 6. So the Lord is the one, at the end of the day, anyone that was brought into this world, or if anyone that was taken out of this world, it was the Most High's doing. You see what I'm saying? Because he's the one that has control of life and death. It's not no devil. The Lord, the Satan can't do nothing that the Lord doesn't say he can't do. Don't allow him to do. So too many people in the Christian church, or some even Israelites, they're making it seem like Satan has more power than the Most High. But no, the Most High has control of everything. So give me Isaiah 29 and 6. Read that.
Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh hosts with thunder, and with earthquake.
This is how the Most High make his presence felt. Read that part again, verse 6.
Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire.
So all the things that's going around in the world, whether it's tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, floods, you know, fires, everything, that's the Most High's doing. That's the Most High sending angels of destruction to bring destruction upon this earth throughout the four corners of the earth. Go to the Apocrypha. Go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. We're going to start at verse 8. So 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 8.
The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away?
So it's the Lord that sends the plagues. He's the one that's sending destruction, not no Mother Earth. You know, even Esau that has his so-called HARP program, which, you know, they're saying, oh, he can control the weather. He still have to get the say-so from the Heavenly Father. Go ahead.
A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid?
So when those Hamites came up against us, and the Lord sent that hailstorm, you best believe they was afraid. Go ahead. They noticed it was the Most High doing, a higher power doing. This wasn't man doing. Because if you're in a war and you only seeing your people dying by the hailstorm, you like, hold on, there's something up. Who the hell they got fighting on their side? You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Verse 11. Yahweh shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
And we're going to find out in these last days what's going to happen to this earth. That same hailstorm that happened back then is coming again. But worse. Continue.
The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep. And the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before Yahweh, and before the glory of his power.
So when the Lord make his presence felt in this earth, when Christ, you know, Yahweh Shai, make his second coming, this whole earth is going to shake. Go ahead before that dreadful day. Go ahead.
For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
So really no place is safe. You know, a lot of people, thinking that they can travel or move somewhere else and say, oh, I'm good, I'm safe. No, it's going to be shot through the end of the earth. It's going to be both, many places are going to be getting, hit with missiles, getting plagues. Not just America. America's just going to get wiped out, but you're going to have other places. No place on earth is safe. Only thing that's going to keep you protected is keeping the laws, statutes, commandments, and have faith in the Messiah. Continue.
Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth.
So the Lord is sending those 4 angels, like it tells you in Revelation 7:1. Those angels are being released on the earth because the elect are waking up, and that number is almost sealed. Go ahead.
The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again.
Go ahead.
Woe is me, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? So
that's Ezra's asking a question. Who's going to deliver? He said, who's going to deliver me in those days? So he understood about regeneration, that he's going to be brought back in these last days as well. Continue.
The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come?
So he asked, because when Ezra, he always asks questions. What should I do with this? What should I do with this? What should I do about this, Lord? So if you understand what's going on in the world, you see, you got places like Argentina. Our people down there, it's martial law down there, it's famine down there, they ain't even eating down there. There's all type of mess going down in Argentina. You got Puerto Rico. Esau pretty much bankrupt Puerto Rico to the point where they trying to move our people out of Puerto Rico so that Esau can move in. And there's all other, madness going around the world. Fishes and stuff coming up on dry shore. Animals falling out of the birds falling out of the sky. Dolphins, pretty much jumping on the beach because the water's so poisoned. All type of crazy stuff is going on. These are signs of the end of times. So give me Revelations. Give me Revelations chapter 16. So just like the Lord plagued those nations that try to rise up against Israel and hit them with hailstorms, he's going to do the same in these last days. So give me Revelations chapter 16 and start at verse 15. So check this out, family. So like I said, just like the Lord plagued those heathens, those other nations with hailstorm and killed them, let's see what's going to happen in these last days. Revelation chapter 16, start at verse 15.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
Read that one more time.
Behold, I come as a thief.
So the Lord's going to come as a thief in the night. It also tells you this in Matthew 24, around 43, 44 verse. Go ahead.
Blessed is he that watcheth.
So blessed is he that watch. We must take heed to the signs. Yes, we don't know when the Lord's going to make his second coming. Nobody knows. Not even the Lord himself. Not even Christ himself knows. But only the Father. But that doesn't mean that he didn't give us signs to leave. It didn't mean that he's just going to leave us out to dry. Like he ain't going to give us no type of signs to know what season we're in. How close we are. So continue.
And keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
So matter of fact, go to Matthew 24 real quick. Matthew 24, verse, start at verse 42. So he said, Christ gonna come as a thief in the night. Watch therefore, keep your garment clean, lest we'll be able to see your nakedness, your shame. So let's read Matthew chapter 24, verse 42. Read that.
Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come.
So this is a precept for Revelation 16 and 15. Continue.
But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched, and would not have suffered his house to be broken up.
Continue.
Therefore be ye also ready.
Be ye also what?
Be ye also ready.
Be ye also ready. Make sure that garment's clean. Meaning, make sure your spirit is clean. Make sure that you are keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. Make sure that you're striving for perfection. Go ahead. Make sure you're having the fruit of the Spirit. Go ahead.
For in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man coming. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is the servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
Meaning doing the will of what? The Father. Which is to keep his commandments, like Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 and 14 says. That the Lord is going to take everything that you've done, whether it's good or evil, you're going to be accounted for in the day of judgment. Continue.
Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods.
Go ahead.
But and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayed his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken.
So he's went back into the world, he's doing wickedness, or he might be in the truth still, but he started smoking weed again. He started going to the clubs again, getting drunk, partying. Go ahead.
The Lord of that servant shall come in the day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of. And shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
So go back to Revelation chapter 16, verse 15.
Revelation 16 and 15.
Go on.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth.
So blessed is he that watches. Like it also said, blessed is he that keep his commandments. Continue.
And keep his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
So a lot of people are going to be, a lot of people are looked at as men of the Lord. Whether it's Israel, people in the truth, or people in the Christian church. People are looked at as men of the Lord. But when the Lord comes back, he's going to put a lot of people to shame. A lot of people are going to see your nakedness. They're going to see the wicked deeds, or a lot of the things are being brought out to light. You see what I'm saying? That the Lord is not going to, everything that's kept in the dark going to come to the light. So the Lord's going to make that stuff known and put you to shame. So that's why we must make sure that we keep our garment clean. And that's why when you go to Revelation chapter 7, verse 9, it talks about how the Lord is going to give the elect a white robe. White representing purity, pure. He's going to give us a clean robe, immortality. And so that's what we must strive for perfection daily. Continue on that, verse 16.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon.
So Armageddon is coming. That's when all nations fight against each other. Go ahead.
And the seventh angel poured out his veil into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven, from the throne, saying, It is done.
Continue.
And there were voices of thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great.
So this is going to be a crazy earthquake that never been done in the past or ever on the face of the earth. Continue.
And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God.
So God remember everything that great Babylon, America, have done to blacks, Hispanics, and Americans, to his chosen people. And so this place is going to crumble. It's going to fall. Go ahead. They actually show you in movies that the place being divided up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To give unto her the cup of the wine of her fierceness of his wrath.
So that cup is full of destruction, indignation. Go ahead.
And every island fled away.
And every what?
And every island fled away.
So you can't just think you about to go flee to the islands. Oh, hey, let's go flee to the islands, y'all. We'll be safe. We're away from America. The Lord said every island fled away. Go ahead.
And the mountains were not found.
The mountains was not found. So no place is safe. The only place is only thing that's gonna make you protected is if you get delivered. That's the only guarantee that you will be protected. You can try to flee anywhere in the world. Try to go to the rainforest. Try to go down to Australia. You know what I mean? And none of that stuff is safe. The Lord is bringing destruction to the earth. When he destroyed the earth with water the first time, he didn't just destroy one place. He destroyed the whole entire earth. Like it tells you in Revelations, he says he's going to make a new heaven and a new what? Earth. That means this earth, as you know, is going to be destroyed. You see what I'm saying? Continue. Check this out.
And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven.
It fell what?
Hail out of heaven.
It fell upon men a great hail out of heaven. That same plague that the Lord plagued the earth in the time of Joshua, he's going to do it again. Go ahead.
Every stone about the weight of a talent.
After a weight of a what?
Of a talent.
And that's anywhere to 100 pounds to 200 pounds. So that's how much heavy, huge those hailstones are going to be. Anywhere from 100 to 200 pounds. Continue.
And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail. For the plague thereof was exceeding great.
So they cursed the Lord because they got mad because the Lord plaguing this earth. But that's not going to stop it. The Lord, so this destruction is coming. So go back to Joshua. So just imagine what that day is going to look like. That's not going to be a day of joy and happiness. That day right there is going to shook up a lot of people. So we don't read this to, so that we can be afraid. We read this so people can take warning and maybe they wake they behind up and maybe they take heed to the scriptures and do what the scriptures are saying and stop playing games, because too many brothers and sisters are playing games. Too many brothers and sisters playing games. Brothers and sisters are still doing a lot of wickedness, and then you go on Facebook and go on YouTube and act like they're just the most righteous people on the earth. A lot of people want to make it seem like their garment is clean. They want to make it seem like they ain't doing no sin on Facebook, on YouTube. But they are full of wickedness. Well, let me go back live. So go back to Joshua chapter 10.
Joshua 10 and 12.
Start it, connect. I don't know my signal bad. Let me see. Bear with me for 1 second. Okay, go live. Okay, we good. So go back to Joshua chapter 10. Hey Lawrence, you want to open the door for a brother? Alright, so we back on. So give me, go back to Joshua chapter 10. Shalom, King. So go back to Joshua chapter 10, verse. Nah, it's all good. Joshua chapter 10, and read verse. Where we start off, left off, 12.
12. Then spake Joshua to Yahweh in the day when Yahweh delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
So it's letting us know that this is written of in the book of Jasher. That doesn't mean, oh, let's go get the book of Jasher that we have right now is the same book. Because when you look it up in a Bible dictionary and look up Jasher, it tells you that that book was destroyed during the time of the Babylonians. So just because this account is written of in Jasher doesn't mean the whole book is true. Because a lot of that stuff contradicts the Bible. So continue.
And there was no day like that before it or after it. And Yahweh hearkened unto the voice of a man, for Yahweh fought for Israel.
So give me Sirach 46. A precept for this. Sirach 46. So you can clearly understand what happened. Sirach 46. A lot of people are like, what? The sun stayed still? So Sirach 46 and read verse 1 through 6.
Yahushai, the son of Nagi, was valiant in the wars, and was a successor of Moses in prophecies.
So you see how it says, Jesus in the 1611? Because Jesus and Joshua is the same Hebrew name, Yahushai. Go ahead.
For the saving of the elect of God and taking vengeance of the enemies.
Slaki, that shows right there that his name is not Yeshaya. Because Jesus and Joshua is the same name. The way you say Joshua in Hebrew is Yahushai, not Yeshaya. Go ahead.
That rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. How great glory gat he when he did lift up his hands and stretched out his sword against the cities.
Go ahead.
Who before him so stood it to it. For Yahweh himself brought his enemies unto him.
Check this out. Go ahead.
Did not the sun go back by his means? And was not one day as long as two?
So the sun stood still for 2 days. Go ahead. For the whole day. Go ahead.
He called upon the Most High Yahweh when the enemies pressed upon him on every side. And the great Yahweh heard him. And with hailstones of mighty power, he made the battle to fall violently upon the nations. And in the descent of Betharon, he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their strength, because he fought in the sight of Yahweh, and he followed the mighty one.
So that's it on that. So that shows that. Go back to Joshua 10 and read verse 13 and 14, 13 again.
And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
So yeah, that's a great sign. And the Lord says there's going to be signs in the heaven. I've seen videos when it looked like it was like 3 suns in the sky. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? It actually looked like 3 suns in the sky. I believe there was like in Asia somewhere. I don't know if it was like China or somewhere, but it looked like 3 suns in the sky. Those are signs. So I'll continue reading on that.
And there was no day like that before it or after it, that Yahweh hearkened unto the voice of a man, for Yahweh fought for Israel.
So that's how righteous Joshua was. To the Lord hearken unto him and actually allow that sun not to go down until they kick their butt. Go ahead.
And Joshua returned and all Israel with him unto the camp to Gilgal. But these 5 kings fled and hid themselves in a cave at Makdah. And it was told Joshua, saying, the 5 kings are found hid in a cave in Makeda. And Joshua said, roll great stones upon the mouth of the cave, and set men by it for to keep them. And stay ye not, but pursue after your enemies, and smite the hindmost of them. Suffer them not to enter into the cities, for Yahweh your God hath delivered them into your hand.
15.
And it came to pass, when Joshua and the children of Israel had made an end of slaying them with a great slaughter, till they were consumed, that the rest which remained of them entered into fenced cities. And all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. None moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel.
So he was afraid. Go ahead.
Then said Joshua, open the mouth of the cave, and bring out those 5 kings unto me out of the cave.
Which was Hamites, Hamites, Africans. Go ahead, kings. Go ahead, 5 of them. Go ahead.
And they did so, and brought forth those 5 kings unto him out of the cave. The king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron.
Which the king that was living in Jerusalem at the time was the Canaanites. So it's not our king, but Jerusalem, the Canaanites lived there, which is Israel. Continue.
The king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon.
Which is all Hamites. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when they brought out those kings unto Joshua, that Joshua called for all the men of Israel, and said unto the captains of the men of war which went with him, come near, put your feet upon the necks of these kings. And they came near and put their feet upon the necks of them. And Joshua said unto them, fear not, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage. For thus shall Yahweh do to all your enemies against whom ye fight.
So just like in these last days, when our enemies come up against us, the Lord will help us. Go ahead, those that's living righteous. Continue.
And afterward Joshua smote them, and slew them, and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hanging upon the trees until the evening. And it came to pass at the time of the going down of the sun that Joshua commanded, and they took them down off the trees, and cast them into the cave wherein they had been hid, and laid great stones in the cave's mouth, which remain until this very day.
So give me the law on that, Deuteronomy 21. So they hung them. So let's get the law on that. So Deuteronomy 21, verse 22 and 23. This is the law when somebody get hung, what you're supposed to do. So read that, Deuteronomy 21, verse 22 and 23.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree.
Which those 5 kings was hung on a tree, right? Go ahead.
His body shall not remain all night upon the tree.
So that's why they took him down, right? Go ahead.
But thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of God, that thy land be not defiled, which Yahweh thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
So that's why. So go back to Joshua chapter 10. So that's the law on when someone gets hanged, don't leave that body up all night. So go to 28.
In that day Joshua took Makkedah and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof he utterly destroyed, them and all the souls that were therein. He let none remain. And he did to the king of Makkedah as he did unto the king of Jericho.
So that tells you that in Joshua 6 and 21, like we read, that all the cities that was close, we were supposed to kill them. Men, women, children, everyone. But the city that's far off, we just killed the man, took the woman and children for captives, and they spoiled their goods. So that's what we did to these kings. Go ahead.
Then Joshua passed from Makkedah and all Israel with him unto Libnah, and fought against Libnah. And the king and Yahweh delivered it also, and the king thereof, into the hand of Israel. And he smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein, he let none remain in it, but did unto the king thereof as he did unto the king of Jericho.
Meaning kill everybody. Go ahead.
And Joshua passed from Libnah and all Israel with him unto Lachish, and encamped against it, and fought against it. And Yahweh delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, which took it on the 2nd day, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Haran, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua smote him and his people until he had left him none remaining.
So he killing some of them, and the other people, kings trying to help, and then I'm getting killed too. So you'll think they'll learn not to mess with the Hebrews, right? Continue.
And from Lachish Joshua passed unto Eglon, and all Israel with him, and they encamped against it and fought against it. And they took it on that day and smote it with the edge of the sword. And all the souls that were therein he utterly destroyed that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. And Joshua went up from Eglon, and all Israel with him, unto Hebron, and they fought against it. And they took it and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and all the souls that were therein, he left none remaining, according to all that he had done to Eglon, but destroyed it utterly, and all the souls that were in it that were therein.
Continue.
And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to Debir, and fought against it. And he took it, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and they smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, as he had done to Hebron. So he did to Debir, and to the king thereof, as he had done also to Libnah, and to her king. So Joshua smote all the country of the hills, and of the south, in the vale, in the valley of the springs, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathed, as Yahweh God of Israel commanded.
The Lord, like it tells you in Exodus 15:3, is the man of war. That ain't nothing to play with. We slaughtered a lot of people that whole day, a bunch of slaughter. You know what I mean? The Lord is not playing, you know, when it comes to his children. You know, especially the children that's living righteous. He would kill all those nations for us. That's how much he loves us. Go ahead.
And Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea even unto Gizar, and all the country of Goshen even unto Gibeon. And all these things, all these kings and their land did Joshua take at one time, because Yahweh God of Israel fought for Israel.
Because that land belonged to us anyway. Continue.
And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp to Gilgal.
So let's go to Joshua chapter 11 and read verse 1. So Joshua chapter 11, verse 1.
And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard those things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Ashad, and to the kings that were on the north of the mountains, and of the plains of South Chinnerah, and in the valley, and in the borders of Duran the west, and to the Canaanite on the east and the west, and to the Amorite, and to the Hittite, and to the Perizzite, and to the Jebusite in the mountains, and to the Hivite under Hermon in the land of Mizpah.
So this is all heathens, all Hamites dwelling in our land. So the Lord already made that promise that that land belongs to us. So everybody that was in there, they was going to get slaughtered. Simple as that. Continue.
And they went out, they and all their hosts with them, much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore, in multitude, with horses and chariots very many. And when all the kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Meron to fight against Israel.
Continue.
And Yahweh said unto Joshua, Be not afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver them up all slain before Israel. Thou shalt huff their horses and burn their chariots with fire.
So give me precept that Isaiah 41. Give me Isaiah chapter 41. He said, don't worry about this. Just another slaughter. You know, put this one in the bank too. Don't worry about it. You know, I defend you with all the other kings we slaughtered. You know what I mean? So this other battle, we're going to do the same thing. Don't be afraid. Let's go over a little bit. Okay. So Isaiah chapter 41 and read verse 11 through 14. So Isaiah 41, 11 through 14. Read that.
Behold, all that they were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them, even them that contended with thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing.
Shall be as what?
As nothing.
So all those nations that was warring against us, they're going to be put as nothing. Go ahead.
And as a thing of naught. For I, Yahweh thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help
Because
thee.
the Most High is on our side. So he said he's going to put these nations to nothing. You know, it tells you in Deuteronomy that the Lord said they are nothing, but a foolish nations. Go ahead.
Fear not, that thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel.
So go back to Joshua. So how are we going to be afraid? Why should we be afraid? If you live in righteous, you have no need to be afraid. Because the Lord is going to help us. He's going to protect us. He's going to guide us. You know, he's going to give us that strength to overcome any obstacles or any enemy that's going to be thrown our way. We're going to be able to defeat them through the power of the Most High and Yahweh Shai, anointed Savior. So go back and read verse 7. Matter of fact, give me Psalms 144 and 1. Slack it. Psalms 144 and just verse 1. So Psalms 144, 144, verse 1. So read that out.
Blessed be Yahweh my strength, which teacheth my hands to war, and my fingers to fight.
So the Lord is the one that teaches how to fight, how to war. So that's why King David and Joshua and all these men was warriors. Abraham, you know, go on for days. The men of the Lord was warriors because the Lord taught them how to fight. You see what I'm saying? There was no punks. There was no sissies. They wasn't afraid. They was warriors, men of the Lord. Just like their father, which is a man of the Lord. A man of war. So go back. Now read verse 7.
So Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom, suddenly, and they fell upon them. And Yahweh delivered them into the hands of Israel, who smote them, and chased them unto the great Zidon, and unto Mizraphah Maim, and unto the valley of Mizpah, eastward, and they smote them, until they left them none remaining.
Continue.
And Joshua did unto them as Yahweh bade him. He huffed their horses, and burnt their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back, and took Hazor, and smote the king thereof with the sword. For Hazor before time was the head of all those kingdoms.
So Hazor was the head of. So remember Hazor. Go ahead, because he was the head of all the kingdoms. Go ahead.
And they smote all the souls that were therein with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe. And he burnt Hazor with fire.
He burned him with what?
With fire.
Yeah. So he was the head. He was one in charge. You're gonna get the worst punishment. Go ahead.
And all the cities of those kings and all the kings of them did Joshua take, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and he utterly destroyed them, as Moses the servant of Yahweh commanded. But as for the cities that stood still in their strength, Israel burned none of them.
So the cities that's pretty much stand down, it was like, I ain't part of this, or I give up. They ain't do nothing with. Go ahead.
Save Hazor only, that did Joshua burn.
Just the city of Hazor, that king that was in charge of, that was the head of all what it said, all the nations, all the kingdoms. He burnt his city. Go ahead.
And all the spoil of these cities and the cattle and the children of Israel took for a prey unto themselves. But every man they smote with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them. Neither left they any to breathe.
Killed all of them. So give me a precept for that. Give me Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah chapter 51. So they killed animals, they killed everything. So Jeremiah 51. The Lord is raising up an army, and we are soldiers in that army. So give me Jeremiah 51, 20 through 23.
Jeremiah 51 and 20.
Check this out. Go ahead.
Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war.
Talking to Israel. You are my battle axe and weapon of war. Go ahead.
For with thee will I break into pieces the nations.
So the Lord's going to use the righteous blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans to break in pieces these nations. Go ahead.
And with thee will I utterly destroy kingdoms. And with thee I will break into pieces the horse and his rider. And with thee will I break into pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman. And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid.
So some people might say, oh, the Lord, that seems mean. You're going to use us to break in pieces man, woman, children. Lord don't play. This is the God we serve. Go ahead.
23. I will also break into pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break into pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers.
So go back to Joshua 11. So we are his battle axe and we are his weapon of war. And like it also tells you in Ezekiel 25, I believe it's verse 12 all the way down to 14, if I'm not mistaken. It talks about how he's going to punish Esau by using Israel to do it. Just paraphrasing. So Joshua chapter 11 and go to verse 12.
And all the cities of those kings and all the kings of them did Joshua take and smote them with the edge of the sword. And he utterly destroyed them, as Moses the servant of Yahweh commanded. But as for the cities...
Moses commanded Israel to do that in Numbers chapter 33, verse 51 to 53. That's where Moses commanded us to do that. And it was fulfilled when Joshua did this with Israel. Continue.
But as for the cities that stood still in their strength, Israel burned none of them, save Hazor only. That did Joshua burn. And all the spoils of the cities and the cattle and the children of Israel took for a prey unto themselves. But every man they smote with the edge of the sword, until they had destroyed them. Neither left they any to breathe. As Yahweh commanded Moses his servant, so did Moses command Joshua. So did Joshua. He left nothing undone of all that Yahweh commanded Moses.
So he obeyed. He got the order, and he obeyed. He didn't say, oh, well, what about that? Or what about... No, he didn't complain. He didn't make no excuses. He got the order from Moses, and Moses got it from the Lord, and he obeyed it. And that's what we must do. We must obey the Lord's commandments, because those are his commandments. That's his laws. So we must do that. So continue out.
So Joshua took all that land, the hills and all the south country, and all the land of Goshen, and the valley, and the plain, and the mountain of Israel, and the valley of the same, even from the Mount Helek, that goeth up to Seir, even unto Baal, Gad in the valley of Lebanon, under Mount Hermon, and all their kings he took, and smote them, and slew them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings.
So it was a long time that they went to war. You know, this wasn't just no short battle. This was a long battle. You know. Go ahead.
There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel.
So all the nations was our enemies, right? Go ahead.
Save the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All other they took in battle.
So the Gibeons, who was that dwelling there? Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 21. 2 Samuel chapter 21. So everybody else wanted to fight against us. All the other cities wanted to fight against us. Only Gibeon. So 2 Samuel chapter 21, just read verse 2.
And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel.
So the Gibeonites was not of the children of Israel, even though they was in our land. Go ahead.
But the remnant of the Amorites.
But the remnant of who?
Of the Amorites.
So that's all I want. And then go back to go to Joshua chapter 9. So that just proves that the Gibeonites was not Israelites; those was Amorites. So go to Joshua chapter 9. Refresh brothers and sisters' memory. And read verse 3 to 7. So Joshua chapter 9, verse 3 to 7.
And when they had
to show you why we didn't kill them or why they didn't fight against us. Read Joshua 9, verse 3.
And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard that Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai,
So they was afraid. They heard what Israel done to them heathens. Go ahead.
they did work wittily, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, and wine bottles, old and rent, and bound up.
So they was lying. They made, they came up with a plan to try to deceive Israel. Go ahead.
And old shoes, and clouded upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread of their provision was dry and moldy. And they went to Joshua unto the camp of Gilgal, and said unto him, and to the men of Israel, we be come from a far country.
To remind you, the Lord told us not to make no covenant with the cities that's close, but to kill everyone. So they try to come up with a little plan, which it was a good plan. Put on some old garments, some old clothes, take some old bottles, take some old moldy bread, make it seem like they came from far. Look, man, it was fresh when we made it, when we prepared it, but now, because since we traveled so far, look how it looks. And then Israel like, oh, okay. So they fooled us, right? Go ahead.
We be come from a far country. Now therefore make a league with us.
Alliance, a pledge, a covenant. Go ahead.
And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, peradventure ye dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you?
So it's like that's all I wanted. So just to show so go back to Joshua chapter 11 and read 19 again.
There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, save the Hivites.
So only the Hivites, right? Go ahead.
The inhabitants of Gibeon. All other they took in battle.
Which was Amorites, which we prove in 2 Samuel chapter 21. Continue.
For it was Yahweh to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them, as Yahweh commanded Moses.
Give me Sirach chapter 16. Like it tells you in Romans chapter 9, the Lord will have mercy on whom he have mercy, and he harden who he hardened. He does what he wants. So give me Sirach chapter 16 and read, get it real quick, 16 verse 15, I believe. Come on.
Yahweh hardened Pharaoh that he should not know him, that his powerful works might be known to the world.
So go back to Joshua 11. And the precept for that is also Romans chapter 9, verse 15 through 18. So the Lord hardened his heart, just like he hardened this king heart. The Lord does what he wants. This is he's the creator. He's the father. We can't complain and say, why you do this or why you made it like that. No. The potter cannot say to the clay. Or the clay can't say to the potter, why you make me thus? Mm-hmm. So, read verse 21 now.
And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities.
And the Anakims means long neck. Those was giants. And we're going to go over it, touch on that a little bit in chapter 12. Go ahead.
There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained.
So hold that. Give me 1 Samuel chapter 17. I'm going to touch a little bit right here, and then really touch it in chapter 12. So the Anakims was giants. The word Anakim means long neck people. Yeah, they was Hamites. Yeah, good. So it said that there was, verse 22 of Joshua 11 said that there was none of the Anakims left of the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza and Gath and Goth and Ashdod there remained. So go to 2 Samuel, or 1 Samuel, Slakia, chapter 17. Show you about Goliath, which was from Goth, verse 4. So 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 4.
And there went out of a champion out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath.
Of what?
Of Gath.
So that's the same king. It was only giants that was left in Gaza and Gath. Go ahead.
Whose height was 6 cubits and a span.
6 cubits in a span. So I looked it up, and I also looked into what historians had to say about this, because you got Israelites talking about the giants was 450 feet tall, or they was 60, 70 feet tall, and no, that is not biblical. Hey, did you see? Look, they got the images right there. They digged up the bones, and look, they about 100 feet tall. You gonna believe Esau lying butt, man? Did you see it?
Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop, like the brother said, Photoshop. Hey, people believe anything. Look, you see, Esau said it. You know, he right here. But the biblical historians that did their research will tell you that 6 cubic in a span, that would mean around 9 feet, 9 inches. So let's say round it up to 10 feet. That's reasonable compared to what brothers are saying 400 something feet or 50 feet. Let's use common sense. It was not no giants that was that tall sleeping with no women that's 5'4".
Right.
You trying to listen? Come on, y'all. 450 feet tall man, 50 feet tall man. You just think about it. How the world is their rod is going to be able to fit inside no little 5'4". You know what I mean? That just don't make no sense. You know, we all grown. We understand. Like, come on, that just don't make no sense. You know, if we freaking, you know, put in work at our height, how the world this giant. Come on, man. Let's use common sense. That makes no sense. Ain't no 450 giant was sleeping with no women, unless they was giants too, and it didn't say they was giants. So that cuts that whole doctrine. That just using common sense. You don't even need to even read the scriptures to use common sense on that. So Goliath was around 9 feet, but we would say 10 feet tall. It wasn't no 450 feet tall. So I'm gonna further prove it too. So continue to read that. Go back to Joshua chapter 11. That's what Book of Enoch and some other books going to. They telling you all the fallen angels and the angels disobeyed God and God kicked them out. You trying to tell me that where the Most High throne is, they're gonna be disobeying the Lord up there, why in His presence, to the point He gonna kick them out? Come on, man. The Lord has complete order in the heaven. It's right here on the earth where it's all disobedience, but not up in the third heaven where the Most High throne is. Even Satan himself obeyed. He can't do nothing. So that just don't make no sense. So go back to Joshua 11 and read that out, verse 23.
Joshua 11:23.
Gone.
So Joshua took the whole land according to all that Yahweh said unto Moses. And Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel according to their divisions by their tribes. And the land rested from war.
Gone. So now Joshua chapter 12.
Now these are the kings of the land which the children of Israel smote, and possessed their land on the other side Jordan toward the rising of the sun from the river Arnon unto Mount Hermon in all the plain of the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon and ruled from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok.
Go ahead.
Which is the border of the children of Ammon, and from the plain to the sea of Chinnerah on the east, and unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea on the east, the way of Beth Jeshimah, and from the south under Ashdod, Pisgah, and the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was the remnant of the giants that dwelt in Ashtaroth and Edrei.
We're gonna talk about those giants, those Nephilims. Yeah. When you look it up, that's what there was called, Nephilims. Go ahead.
And reigned in Mount Hermon, and Silkah, and in all Bashan, unto the border of the Geshurites and Machathites, and half Gilead, the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon.
Go ahead.
Then did Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the children of Israel smite. And Moses, the servant of Yahweh, gave it for possession unto the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh.
So that's what they was dwelling on the east side of the river Jordan, and the other nine tribes was dwelling on the west. Continue.
And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel smote. And on this side Jordan, on the west from Baal Gad and the valley of Lebanon unto the mount Halak, that goeth up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for possession according to their divisions. In the mountains, and in the valleys, and in the plains, and in the springs, and in the wilderness, and in the south country, the Hittites and Amorites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and Jebusites. The king of Jericho won, the king of Ai, which is beside Bethel won.
So we ain't gonna read all that. Just jump down to 23.
The king
It's just giving you all the kings that we slaughtered. So read verse 23 and 24.
The king of Dor in the coast of Dor won. The king of the nations of Gilgal won. The king of Tizar of Tirzah won. All the kings 30 and 1.
So we slaughtered 31 kings. That's pretty much what it was going to name. So we slaughtered 31 kings. So go back to let's talk about this giants real quick. Go to Genesis chapter 6 real quick. Let's talk about these 450 feet giants sleeping with 4 foot, 5 foot women. Matter of fact, let's just say 6 feet women. You see what I'm saying? So read Genesis chapter 6 and read verse 1. So let's get some understanding. There was no giants, that was that tall. So let's prove how tall these people were. So read Genesis 6 and 1.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them.
So men, give me Psalms 9 and 20. We're gonna do it really fast. It's really simple, not that hard to understand. But Psalms 9 and 20, when men begin to multiply on the face of the earth, what man is he referring to? Psalms 9 and 20. Read that real quick.
Psalms 9 and 20.
God.
Put them in fear, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men.
So the other nations are but men. So we are not just men. So we go back to Genesis chapter 6, now read verse 2.
Genesis.
Matter of fact, read verse 1 again.
Okay. And it came to pass that when men began to multiply on the face of the earth.
So when other nations began to multiply on the face of the earth, go ahead.
And daughters were born unto them.
And they was having children, go ahead.
That the sons of God.
So the sons of who?
Sons of God.
Give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18. My phone might die in a little bit, so if it cut off, it might cut off. I don't know how much time I got left, but so give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18, verse 13. This is when the Lord plagued in Egypt and what the Egyptians said about Israel. So read Wisdom of Solomon 18, verse 13.
For whereas they would not believe anything by reason of the enchantments.
So the Egyptian was using witchcraft, right? Go ahead.
Upon the destruction of the firstborn.
And they firstborn got destroyed, right? Firstborn everything, right? Go ahead.
They acknowledged.
They what?
They acknowledged.
The Egyptians acknowledged what?
This people.
This what?
This people.
To be who?
To be the sons of God.
To be who?
The sons of God.
So they acknowledged that these people was the sons of God. Go back to Genesis chapter 6, y'all. Brother. And also when you go to Luke chapter 3, verse 38, it calls Adam a son of God. So that's what any of that direct lineage through Adam all the way down was called sons of God. They're his chosen lineage. And also Hosea chapter 1 verse 10, it tells you that we are the sons of the living God. We will be called the sons of the living God. So I'll go back to Genesis chapter 6 and read verse 2.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men.
So even Pharaoh and the Egyptian understood that the sons of God, that Israel was the sons of God. So that cuts that the sons of God are angels. The Bible never refers to the sons of God as angels. The sons of God will always be referred to as Israelites. Go ahead.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and took them wives of all which they chose.
So we Israelites, the sons of God, we was called at that time, which the children of Israel, when the word Israel means son of God, Yasha Allah.
The time is 4:45 in the Minneapolis Central Library. Will be closing in 15 minutes. Thank you.
So Israel means son of God, prince of power. So we was called sons of God back then. We're still called sons of God right now. So the sons of God was sleeping with the other nations' women and brought forth children. Go ahead, verse 3.
And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
Go ahead.
There were giants in the earth in those days.
There was giants in the earth, Nephilims in the earth at that time. Go ahead.
And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men.
That the sons of God also slept with the daughters of men. Go ahead.
And they bare children to them. The same became mighty men.
They became giants, or super duper tall.
The same became mighty men.
So that's what they was meaning. They became mighty men. Go ahead.
Which were of old, men of renown.
Men of honor. So to be called a giant even back then was not just dealing with your height, but just dealing with your stature. Meaning, if you was an honorable man, if you was a mighty man, you was called a giant. It wasn't referring to as all the time as a person that's super duper tall. But let's talk about the people that was tall, the giants. So go give me Numbers chapter 13. Numbers chapter 13, verse 33. Yeah, I'm already in red on my phone, so it probably cut off in about 5 minutes. Most I will and don't. Unless one of the brothers, somebody want to hold this while on this charger. Appreciate it. Yeah, or matter of fact, you can flip it. Yeah, you can see it gone. The water. Appreciate it. So go to Numbers chapter 13, verse 33.
And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which are the
Nephilims. Go ahead.
Which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so were we in their sight.
So people are taking that as, oh man, Israel, these people are so tall, we look like grasshoppers, and they was looking like, giants, right? So let's find out how tall the Anakims, the giants, was. Now give me Deuteronomy chapter 2. Matter of fact, get another precept. Deuteronomy chapter 2 real quick. Verse 19 and 21 through 21. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 19 through 21.
And when thou comest nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them, for I will not give thee of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for possession.
Continue.
That also was accounted a land of giants.
So they also had a land of giants, right? Go ahead.
Giants dwelt therein in old time. And the Ammonites called them Zamzamims.
Go ahead.
a people great and many, and tall, as the Anakims.
And tall as who?
As the Anakims.
So these giants that was called by the Ammonites, Zamzalemims, they was as tall as the Anakims. So let's find out how tall this giant was. Let's get straight to the point. Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 11. Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 11.
For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. It is not in Rabath of the children of Ammon.
Continue.
9 cubits was the length thereof.
How long was his bed?
9 cubits.
When you look up 9 cubits, it's 13 feet and 6 inches. That's what even historians would tell you. That is around, we'll say 14, I'll round it off. 14 feet long was his bed. Go ahead.
And 4 cubits was the breadth of it.
And 6 feet wide. Still going. So, 14 feet tall, 6 feet wide was his bed, the size of his bed. So obviously he's not going to be the same size as the bed. Right. He's going to be a little bit shorter. So that shows that the Anakims, the Nephilims, they was anywhere between Goliath height, which was around 9 feet, to 13, we'll say 14 feet. So 9 to 14 feet. That's what it was. You actually had one of the tallest people that ever lived in the world, or ever was recorded. I believe he was like almost 10 feet. He was like 9'11" or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So that's believable. I can believe that there was people 13 feet tall, 12 feet tall. You got a bunch of them Hamites still to this day. Yeah, them people giants. They women are 7 feet tall, everything. So that's believable to believe that 7 feet, 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, 10, all the way 11, 12. But to say that they're 50 feet tall and 100 feet tall, that is not according to the Bible. You know, so all praises to Abinawi Yahweh by Hashem, Hamashiach Yahushai. I hope you get edified through the Spirit of the Most High. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see if any